People who have made friends outside of work and school. How on earth did you do that? Gathered up the courage to go to an event twice instead of trying something out once and flaking like usual. Here's a couple ways I have made friends outside of work and school. Casual conversations. Being friendly to service people at your local shops and restaurants. Get involved in local events. Usually every town has their events posted. Accept invitations that you normally would not consider. Go to the local farmers market or junk sale. More exposure over time will bring some familiar faces. After a while you will start conversations and get to know people. I have legit met people that I wanted to be friends with and made that happen. Yes, a couple times it did not work out, but my instincts are not usually off on potential friends. My best friend of 12 years was my waitress for at least a year, and we found out we had a lot in common after about a year of little conversations. She came to visit me when I worked at a nearby shop one day, and then from there we started hanging out. I also have another friend who 20 years ago I met randomly while I was walking to the store. She was making red candles and I happened to need a red candle. We now live clear across the country from one another and talk probably twice a year and send Christmas cards. We were best friends for 2 years when we lived near each other. My hairdresser of 5 years and I started spending time together outside the salon. She invited me for coffee and I accepted, and now we hang out every once in a while. I read her cards and she cuts my hair. Be friendly, start conversations and be open. Go out and do something you like doing. Go up to someone you want to be friends with and ask them a normal question like, hey, do you know what time this place closes, or something basic like that. If they seem annoyed or bothered you went up to them, leave. If they seem fine with it, start talking to them and get to know them. Sometimes people just like to hang out and shoot the shit. That's how I make friends, at least. It's how I've made a lot of friends. Find a group based on something you actually like. Sports, tabletop games, knitting, etc. Go to multiple meetings. At each meeting, start chatting people up. Don't be afraid to just jump in on a conversation that you think is interesting. It can be way easier than trying to start one with someone who you don't really know. Alternatively, you can totally just go up to people and introduce yourself. Just start asking them questions. People like to talk about themselves, and you'll get a good conversation going 9 times out of 10. From the group of people you are now semi-acquainted with, pick a few whose company you especially enjoy. Ask them to hang out. This can be tricky if they're a very busy person, but if they make an effort to fit you into their schedule, they're worth befriending. If they ghost you, move on and try asking a different acquaintance. It's not worth the effort of forcing someone to hang out who isn't interested. Once you've got some people to hang out with, you've got friends. This can also get you through the early stages of meeting potential dates as well. If you're more socially awkward, it might be harder to just approach someone or find the will to go to a group more than once. That's why you pick something you like. You have a fun thing to get through the awkward I don't know anyone really well yet phase, and you have a designated conversation starter. What's your favorite game? If it's a tabletop game club, or what knitting project are you working on? etc. Good luck, and if all else fails, just be open that you're looking for friends. People are generally sympathetic, and many are equally lonely. D&D and Pokemon Go. Weirdly enough, people underestimate the power of Pokemon Go. Moved to a new area and instantly looked up the local Pokemon Go group. Now 2 of them are my closest friends, and most my general friends that I hang out with on the regular are from that group, doing non-Pokemon related things too. Find a hobby. My husband was lonely and depressed. It is hard for him to make friends because he works 3rd shift every other week. He's up when everybody else is asleep when they are awake, and working whenever they have an outing planned. Then all of a sudden he starts going to this yearly convention for podcasts and tabletop gaming. Next thing you know, he's a guest host on several of the podcasts, has quite a bit of a social media presence and somewhat following on their channels, and talks to these people constantly. It has gotten to the point where I come to the convention and complete strangers walk up to me and ask if I'm Barry's dad. I'm like, what? That is my dog. Turns out my dog has a Twitter account I've never heard of with its own following, and I'm in some of the pictures and people recognize me. Having a geeky hobby turned him from a lonely person into somewhat of a celebrity in that world. So the next time you are the liquor store or restaurant and somebody compliments you on your He-Man shirt, strike up a conversation with them. Being recognized publicly as your dog's dad is a new one, haha. Do activities outside of work and school, like join choirs or go rock climbing, or craft groups, or whatever, and join in those social circles. Also, make friends in work and school, then make friends with their friends, and then make friends with the friends of their friends until the chain is long enough that the starting point is rendered irrelevant. The make friends with friends of friends is very underrated. And usually your friends have friends more similar to you than your friend. Ultimate Frisbee. I know the name of this sport alone sparks giggles, but it honestly changed my life 100% for the better. All over the world the community around this sport is so amazing. Filled with welcoming, talented and driven people. After 8 years of playing, I have played with teams in Ireland, Japan, Colombia, New Zealand, Vietnam, Malaysia and the US who have welcomed me with open arms and have had great senses of humor. One of my favorite stories is from my time in Vietnam. My first day in the country, I messaged the Facebook group of the local team and explained I was a player from Ireland. 4 hours later I was being picked up on the back of moped and brought to their 2-hour practice. We shared sugarcane juice afterwards, and it was a great way to meet the locals. I owe my positive outlook on life to this sport, and the friends I have made within this community are by far my closest. Become a regular at a bar. I eventually got a standing invite out to the after hours place the staff went to after the bar closed. When I was cool there, more social events followed. My husband jokes that we can't go anywhere without me running into someone I know. We have lived in our city for 2 years. School and work are great places for friends because you have to go to them consistently and you already have one thing in common, school or work. Find one thing you like and go consistently. My top 3 places: gym/fitness, neighbors, service people. Fitness. This is my hobby and I love group fitness classes. At Orange Theory there is a sense of community in partner workouts. People are usually waiting to go into class and it's very easy to start chatting because no phones are allowed. It's usually something like, "My legs are still sore from yesterday's workout. Did you go?" At Pure Bear, it's very similar. At my community center, there are lots of retirees and it's like my son and I have 30 grandparents. I go to the same classes on the same day every week. People get to know you when you are consistent. Neighbors, go outside. Decorate for holidays. Plant flowers, clean up around where you live. Show that you care about where all of you live, and people will like you. See a parent outside watching their kid ride a bike. Walk up to them and chat. "Gosh, that was a crazy storm last night. Did your power go out too?" Or, "Hi, I'm Faxo Life. I live across the street. I see you around." Is a good start too. Service people, be nice and treat people like they are people too. Ask them what they are doing this weekend. Then the next time you see them, ask it how it went. Top 3 tips. Put your phone away. You're not approachable if your phone is being used. It should be out of sight to limit distractions. It shows the person you are engaged with them and present. There are going to be douchebags. It's about them, not you. Commit. If you want to find friends, you have to go out and do it. You're not so special that people will flock to you and think you're amazing and just show up at your door. The smoking section anywhere and everywhere. So sad how true this is. After I quit I feel like I have no way to engage with people. Smoke pits are just natural places to casually chat with different people. I talked to people and easily was able to recognize people who are into the same shit as me. Generally glassy bloodshot eyes. With that barely conscious look. Easy to spot. I live in a college town in Minnesota, so it may not be the same everywhere. I made a few friends over the years by just chilling by a park trail and smoking weed. I've literally matched on a blunt with a complete stranger on a trail and we ended up finding out we're neighbors and have been hanging out since. Went on a date with a girl I met on a dating site. She took me to a house party and introduced me to some of her friends. Never saw her again, but I ended up with one of her friends as a roommate and our house became the after party spot. Now I live on the other side of the country and I miss those fuckers. One of the best friends I have right now is a girl I tried to pick up at a bar. She let me down gently, but wasn't opposed to hanging out again. Many beers and vegan corn dogs later, we're each other's emergency contacts. Buy drinks at a karaoke bar.